that there's somebody out there just like you in their sewing room or at their sewing machine, whether they get a whole room or not, that they're sewing the same pattern, maybe not with the same fabric, but it's neat to think that you're together in that. So hopefully this yoga flow is designed and resonates with you so that it can reconnect you with your breath, reconnect you with yourself, so that the connection that you seek is genuine. I wanted to talk a little bit about sew-alongs today and the reasons to join a sew-along or not to join a sew-along, and then what we really get out of it and who wins in sew-alongs, if there is such a thing as winners and losers. Sew-alongs are on my mind because this time of year it seems like they're really, really prevalent. The fabric manufacturers, whether promoting it through their designers or through the fabric retailers, there's so many of them now online and in person. They all want you to buy the kit that goes along with that sew along, and they sell it as community. And we're in an age where we are in an engagement-based marketing kind of regime. And we know for a long time that the kinds of messaging that we receive, whether we receive it through TV, our phones, or Instagram, whatever it is, we're always looking at messaging. And for a long time now, traditional advertisement isn't really working. And the advertisers and marketers have had to come up with a different way to get people to buy their products. So you see the rise of influencers, and the fabric manufacturers really like it when their designers promote their own fabrics, and they're also pattern designers usually. So these fabric designers are hosting their own sew-alongs as a way to do this new model of what I probably call as engagement-based marketing. And I am involved in one right now. I joined the sew-along that Joanna Figueroa of Fig Tree & Co. is hosting, her Wintertime Magic sew-along. And it's so far a couple of basic blocks, a heart, and a tree. And it's entertaining. I'm using a fat quarter bundle that I've had in stash from a different moda designer. And it's going to turn out really cute. I'm going to use it as a stroller quilt or a car quilt for my little 1-year-old. But, I got surprised by that sew along. I didn't expect it coming, and I had different plans of how I was going to start off my year sewing and quilting. But the idea of community really gets me right now because we're so isolated in this time of year in the part of the country that I live in. I'm in the Midwest. I should tell you, I'm here in the yoga studio that I teach yoga in, and we're going to go into a chair yoga flow that is intended to help a person if they are either considering joining a sew-along or have joined it and they have a lot of other works in progress going on at the same time that they want to get to. The yoga flow that you're about to see is one that helps you find the power within yourself. I think when we are told you're part of a community when you join a sew-along, that's correct. And there's a whole nother generation of sewists and quilters coming up that are my age and probably younger, that they've had social media most of their adult life or most of their lives. And we're starting to enter this age where our identity can seem a little bit external from ourselves. Getting those likes and comments, whether your identity is external from yourself because you do mostly live on social media or online, and don't do very much within your community because of the season you're in, or because that is a little bit of how your generation was raised. There's a new generation that really does seem to cling on to this idea of community. For me, going into a stay-at-home mom gig like I've gone into the last year and a half, community out there in the big old world seems really enticing. I can see this being something enticing for someone who's maybe an empty nester or is retired. Every generation is definitely going to resonate with the idea of a sew along, for the idea that there's someone somewhere out there in the world, maybe even in your same town, who's sewing the same thing at the same time that you are. Block swaps are a great one for this. I'm doing a block swap with Ruby Star Society fabric right now. I signed up for that block swap, I think, in December, maybe November, and we're about to mail off our blocks. So I really have leaned into community right now, even though I had my own quilt pattern selected and the fabric's already bought to do that in isolation. Essentially, this is a very isolating hobby. But then I was pulled toward community. So I think I'm circling around the idea that there are really reasons to go into sew-alongs if it does seem magical or enticing in the right way, that there's somebody out there just like you in their sewing room or at their sewing machine, whether they get a whole room or not, that they're sewing the same pattern, maybe not with the same fabric, but it's neat to think that you're together in that. Reasons not to do a sew along are probably along the lines of when you post your blocks on the Facebook group or wherever this sew along is hosted online, are you doing it for the likes and comments? Pretty much. Is that validation external from yourself? And do you have to buy like a $99, I'm throwing a number out there, a bundle of fabric that the fabric designer is trying to sell in order to really feel like you're going to make that quilt in the sew along in the way that it was designed? I think there's a real, not just a generation, but there's a lot of folks who are probably susceptible to the marketing, the engagement-based marketing that we're starting to see, where it really resonates with them that they need to get on board if they want to be part of this club or this the word community is thrown around a lot, and I it's starting to almost seem like something that can be used to intrigue people who are already easily susceptible to marketing gimmicks. And I want community to be used in the right way, that it's about connection and not validation. So the flow that I designed that is coming up it is for sew-alongs for anybody considering joining a sew-along or did join and then they feel like they have a lot of works in progress because they have other things besides a sew-along that they were starting on doing. It has in the flow a lot of warrior pose and poses that should get you to reconnect with your breath, reconnect with yourself, find that gratification within yourself, so that you can really go out there and make good decisions about your buying power, about where you're spending your time and energy, where you're finding your community. If it is a really good connection, are you making friendships? Are you feeling like the quilts that you produce as part of these sew-alongs is going to be something that you're proud of and happy with? So I want you to participate in sew-alongs if you feel connection from them and not so much validation and the likes and comments. I know we all are easily intrigued and excited by the community in person and online, and I want to continue to be part of this community. And I think we're lining up for a time in our history in this hobby where we are lined up for manufacturers who have malintent to go ahead and clasp onto this concept of community to get us to continue to put that credit card number in, to buy the kit, to buy the fabrics for this particular sew-along so that your finished product will look just as good as the designer intended. So trust your instinct, trust your eye for your color. Whether you do buy the kit or the bundle, or you choose from stash or use one that you already had on hand that the colors might be somewhat similar and you're going to be happy or happier with it because it's more your taste. yeah, that inward gratification, you validate yourself, you get to decide what looks good and if you like your finished product, not if someone in Indiana or California or Greenland clicked like or commented on your post. I feel a little hypocritical, a person with a YouTube channel saying stuff like that. Um, but I think because I do have the platform and I have the background in the marketing, I think I should say something. I went to school for marketing. I have a master's from the University of Iowa in their journalism school. And when I was going to school in the early 2000s and mid 2000s, it was really interesting to come up in a time when Facebook, TikTok, um, all of those were starting to emerge. Instagram was really emerging, especially during my master's degree. And we were really seeing a shift away from purchased advertisements and towards what they call organic engagement. And so we are definitely in the thick of it now that we're in the 2020s, and we're seeing what was predicted. Now that everybody has so much information thrown at them all the time from all the screens that we're looking at, however we're consuming our material, people do have a lot of messages coming at them, and we're starting to develop this sort of like a mental shield saying, oh, okay, I recognize that's an advertisement. Oh, wait, this over here, this is from a designer that I really admire, or a fabric company that I know I like. They are going to start engaging in engagement-based marketing to get you to buy into community when really there is something to buy, there is something to add to cart. But if you see that and you're aware of it, and then you do participate in the community because it's gratifying in a way that it is a connection with the outside world and not so much that validation that is coming from an external source. Absolutely. Like, be aware of the reasons that they're marketing it to you to join, but then also be savvy and know what will make you happy, that instant gratification that's going to come from within. So hopefully this yoga flow is designed and resonates with you so that it can come from within, that gratification, reconnect you with your breath, reconnect you with yourself, so that the connection that you seek is genuine. Find a comfortable seat, feet flat on the floor, about shoulder distance apart, hands on the tops of the thighs. Tickle your toes along that floor. Think tall and a long spine, chin up, crown of your head up towards the ceiling. Fan your fingers out on your thighs. Connect with your breath, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Bring the hands up in front of the chest in prayer. Interlace the fingers and push them out, arching your back. Bring those fingers up above the head and exhale. Allow the hands to come apart and down. Take the hands down to the side of the chair, to the sides of the thighs. Bring the hands up again in front of the chest in prayer. In an inhale, exhale, push them out from your body, fingers interlaced. Inhale, they come up above the head, interlaced still. And exhale, they go down. Inhale, exhale, hands go out, away from the body. Inhale, up, exhale, down. Allow your chin to drift to your chest. Rock your right ear to your right shoulder. Down again, chin to chest. Again, up, right ear to right shoulder. Chin down to chest. Up, right ear to right shoulder. Back now, back of the head, rocking on the same side to the back of the neck. Rock to the shoulder on the same side and the back. Bring the right arm and allow it to grab the opposite side of the head. The left arm is grasping the base of the chair under your thigh and getting a nice stretch all the way through that side of the neck and shoulder. Hand on the head comes down. Bring your back of your head to the back of your neck, now rocking on the other side. Left ear to left shoulder, and then the back of the head goes to the back of the neck. Rocking again to the side, and then back to the neck. Side, and then to the back. Side. Rocking to the front on that side. Chin comes to chest. And then back up to the shoulder. Chin to chest. Back up to that shoulder. Chin to chest. Back up to the shoulder. Left hand pulls slightly on the head, bringing that ear closer to that shoulder, and the opposite arm grasps the bottom of the chair and gets a stretch through that right shoulder. Return to neutral forward-facing position. Shrug the shoulders up to the ears and down, chin to chest. Shrug, shrug, shrug the shoulders up to the ears and release. Exhale, chin to chest. Again, shrug, down, chin to chest. Left knee and foot a little bit forward. Right foot goes a little bit back. Position your body perpendicular to that forward-facing leg. Extend your arms, one arm forward, fingers directly pointing in the way that the front knee is facing, and then the back hand is opposite. Turn that palm up on the front, and then bring your hand up above over your head. Back arm drifts down. Now bring your front arm onto your thigh, and then the back hand comes up and points in front of your head. Bring the back arm back down. Return to Warrior Two. Breathing. Again, the hand palm in the front turns up and fingertips come up over your head and point to that sky. The back hand comes over to the front and points towards the front where that front arm had dropped down. Return to Warrior Two. Bring both arms to the neutral forward. The arms come straight up over the top of that front leg and fingers are pointing up towards the ceiling, and your gaze goes up towards those hands. Warrior One. Exhale, hands come down and the back leg comes to the front. Shimmy, whatever you need to do to resettle both of your sits bones flat on the chair. Same other side. Left leg comes back now. The ball of the foot firmly on the floor. Right knee comes forward. Torso faces left. Gaze comes over that front hand where the fingers are pointing directly over your right knee. Bring the palm up and the fingers up to the ceiling. Back hand comes up and the fingers point towards the front. Forward extended angle. Back hand goes back down and you return to your Warrior Two. Palm comes up, front hand drifts up over the head and points toward the ceiling. Back arm comes forward and points in front of you to get a great hip stretch through the back there. Allow that hand to come back down and face forward. Warrior one, bring both arms up, facing forward. Gaze goes up towards those hands. Maybe that bottom foot in the back, the top of the foot goes to the floor, so you get a stretch through that foot. Bring the arms down. Face forward again. Extend your right leg. Position your torso facing that right leg slightly at an angle. Bring your arms up. Inhale and exhale. Allow the hands to fall where they may. Chin to chest. We're getting a nice curvature through the spine here. Breathe into that knee. Stay here for a couple of breaths. Return that foot back to neutral. Upper body returns to neutral forward-facing position. Extend that same right leg directly forward and out, and then back. Forward in front, out, in. Forward, out, in. Forward, out, in. Position yourself. Reverse those circles. Out, sweeping forward and in, out, sweeping forward, in, out, sweeping forward, in, out, sweeping forward, in. Return to a neutral front, and now doing the same thing with the other leg. Extend your left leg, arms up, and they drift downward over that knee, land where they may, and the chin comes to chest, getting a curvature in the spine. Breathing into your knee. Return that foot in. Forward, side, in. Forward, side, in. Forward, side, in. Forward, side, in. Now reverse those circles. Out, forward, in, out, forward, in, out, forward, in, out, forward, in. Position yourself to where your knees come as wide as they can. Imagine as if you were in a squat. Swoop those arms and hug your right thigh. Chin comes all the way to the thigh, or as much as it can. Maybe that left leg pops out for a little bit more of a stretch through that side. Stay here for a few breaths. And bring that foot in. Other side. Swoop those arms to hug that left thigh. Allow your right leg to extend out if it feels like you want to add some sensation. Little curvature in the back. Stretch through the leg and hip. And the chin comes to the thigh or drifts in that direction. Return to a normal forward-facing position. Bring your left foot to your right thigh and fall over it, hugging that foot, hugging that knee. Just getting a lengthening through your spine here. And really exhaling into that ankle or calf. Same thing, other side. Right ankle to left knee. Fall down into that leg, hugging the knee, breathing into that calf. Returning to a neutral forward-facing position. Gonna find a little bit of a twist here. Right arm comes to left thigh. Left arm goes behind you, and you seek your gaze directly behind you for a twist in the upper body. Return to the front. Opposite arm to opposite leg. Now the other arm drifts to the back, and your gaze goes to the back there for a twist, other side, upper body. Revisiting our warriors from before, right leg goes a little bit behind you, and your left knee comes forward. Arms come straight forward and straight back. Gaze goes out in front of those fingers. Turn your palm up and bring it up over the head, and then it goes down onto your front knee, and your back hand comes up and over your head and points forward. Return to warrior two. One more time, palm up, and then down, forward extended angle, back comes forward. Back to warrior two. Return to the front. Other side. Right knee comes forward and left back. Torso goes toward that side with the leg that went back. And then hands position forward and back. Palm comes up, and then the back arm comes forward for that forward extended angle. Repeat. Front arm goes up, and then the back arm drifts forward to get that stretch through the other side. Return to warrior two. Return to a neutral forward seated position. Go into a couple minutes of Shavasana here. Palms up if you want to receive light and messaging from the universe. Anything you want direction on. Palms down if you just want to be grounded with the earth. Couple of breaths together, bring arms up to prayer overhead, and then the prayer comes to the chest. And then we give a big exhale together. Thank you for practicing with me today. Namaste.